This is my video for Assignment 3, Question 3, where I must have two external interrupt sources that have different interrupt handlers. So for my LEDs, I'm using LED A0, and for the other LED, I'm using A1, and then for the buttons, I'm using C10 and C3. Here's where I'm initiating the LEDs to be output and push-pull for the pins. This is for the other LED. And then over here is my two functions that I'll use to toggle the LEDs. And then down here is where I actually start setting up the interrupts. So first I turned on the clock for port C, since I'm going to be using port C for both buttons. And then here is where I configured the pin for button 0 and the pin for button 1. And then over here is where I actually enabled the interrupts. So since I'm going to be using pin 10 and 3, so to enable the interrupt 10, I must enable 15 through 10. And then for 3, I can just enable 3. And then I set the priority of 10 to be a more important priority for 10, so 0, and then a less important priority of 1 for 3. And then here is where I'm configuring it so that the external interrupt controller register gets C3 here, and then also from C10 here to make sure it pulls from port C for those interrupts. And then here is where I'm making sure that both of those interrupts are enabled by not masking them. And here I'm making sure that they're on rising edge, since they to activate the interrupts, since they are connected to a pull down configuration. And then here's my interrupt handler for the 10th interrupt, or 10 through 15. See, it blinks the LED, or toggles the LED 10 times. And then down here for the third interrupt handler, it blinks the other LED, toggles it 20 times really quickly. And then here's my main, where it initiates both the interrupts and the LEDs, and then has the hanging while loop. And then here's my code in action. This one activates the red LED. This one activates the blue LED. And if I do this one first and then interrupt it with this one, you can see the higher priority takes over for a moment, and then the other one ends. And then my wiring here, as you see, 3.3 volts comes here through both resistors for the buttons, and those are both read by C3 and then C10 up here. And then for the LEDs, they are controlled by ports A0 and A1, so they come through here, through the resistors, through the LEDs, and then to ground.